Hello, Chet here. This is Chet Zar. This is the Dark Art Society podcast. Sorry. Excuse the noise outside. There's still roof work going on out there, so you'll probably hear compressors, hammering, nail guns, things of that nature. But I'm just going for it so I can get this thing done and posted. Let's see what's been going on. Conjoined 10 happened. Well, first off, let me say this. I got a lot of feedback from the last episode. People contacting me and, telling me I should slow down and don't get too stressed about the podcast, but don't quit doing the podcast. So, I was just tired. It really maybe sounded worse than it was. I started feeling bad because I was getting all these messages from people, and that wasn't my intention. I wasn't. I guess I was just exhausted. I get like that sometimes. I get tired and I just go, "What the hell am I doing?" But I always come back around. I just needed rest. So I'm not gonna stop doing the podcast. There's no way. It's when something grassroots like this podcast kind of takes off and people like it, I'm going to keep doing it. So I sometimes I am feel like I'm in a bubble though. And I don't know if people are out there really digging it or not, but I had a lot of people at the Conjoined show telling me that they really love the podcast and stuff. So anyway, don't listen to me if I get like that. I was just tired. I'm not. I wasn't even that bad. I mean, I guess I came across worse than I actually was. So I apologize. I don't mean to worry anybody. But I'm all good. Conjoined is over, so that's kind of a relief. That was a really great show. People loved it. The art was amazing. Everyone really kicked ass and just did a great job creating the work. Gary and Erica did a great job getting the show ready, and it looked really nice. It was great. Had nothing but nice things. Heard nothing but nice things about it all night. So that's over. So that's kind of a relief. Yeah, I'm just back to playing catch up. I still am not caught up with things. Got to get the book done. My usual spiel. Commissions, book. I have to start these tool posters I pre-sold. I think what I'm going to do is start the doodles this week, I hope. That's the plan. And then maybe start doing time lapses of them and posting them on my Patreon. That'd be kind of cool. Time lapsing the tool poster doodles. One thing that a couple people said to me in regards to being burnt out, dealing with the podcast and everything, is they suggested that I don't have to do the 5 questions every time if I'm running behind. And I was like, wow, that's a simple solution. I'm always trying. I feel like I'm one of these overachievers. It's kind of obnoxious in a way. I don't even stop to think that, just don't do that part and it'll make things 100 times easier. So I'm not going to do the 5 questions this week because that's the situation I was in today. And instead of stressing out and getting on here and complaining and then people worrying about me, I'm just not going to do the 5 questions. So that's easy. Anyway, yeah, just back on projects, finishing things up, getting things shipped. And then I'm going to start these posters, tool posters, doodles. Anyway, okay, so let's see. What do we have? That's what's going on. That's what's going on with me. This intro is going to be short. Let's do new subscribers. New subscribers. Where are you? Okay, new subscribers. I think I mentioned Andreas Nagel last week, so I will start there. And he gave a generous amount a month, so I'll say it again. Thank you, Andreas Nagel. Okay, and then we've got Guts That Glisten. Thank you for supporting. And Rag and Bone. Those are the new supporters this month. If you want to join, patreon.com/darkartsociety. And you can it's just $1 a month. You can cancel anytime. Super easy. You can pause your membership anytime. Very easy to do. And it supports the podcast, keeps it free for everybody else. And you get little extras. Like I'm going to be posting this image of John Cebolero's that we talk about that I was thinking about using for the placard, but we ended up choosing another image a little more appropriate for the Dark Art Society. But this other one I was talking about is so great that I wanted to post it. So I'm going to post it in the Patreon, as well as the screen grab. I do a screen grab of the interviewee, and you get the podcast a day early. So it's worth it for $1. I mean, it's totally worth it. So, yeah, anyway, I didn't even mention the today's interview is John Cebollero. I'm such a big fan of him, and I really think he's criminally underrated. He's so good. His line work is just it just does it for me. It just does it for me. I just, it's masterful. His stuff is just masterful to me. So I'm excited to share his work with you if you haven't seen it. Really great, amazing, and hilarious. His work just makes me laugh. One other thing I want to mention before we get into the interview, which was a great interview, by the way. Just did it a little bit earlier. We're still trying to get Chet Zar, I Like to Paint Monsters, onto Netflix. So if you go into the, if you search, I think if you Google Netflix recommendations or something, you could probably find it. But there's a link down in the description on the SoundCloud page, and what any other podcast hosts that you're listening through. The information should be in the description with a link to the Netflix recommendation page, where you can recommend Chet Zar, I Like to Paint Monsters, because that would be pretty damn cool to get that on Netflix, just so people can see it. More people can see it. Right now it's just on iTunes, and you can get the DVD, but a lot of people I've tried selling the DVD to say I don't even have a DVD player, which is pretty crazy. Okay, anyway, I'm going to cut it short. In keeping with this new attitude of don't stress out about the podcast, I'm cutting it short. Anyway, what you really want to hear is the interview. So I'm aware of that. So let's get on with it. I had a great interview with John Cebollero. So check it out. Hope you like it. Hello, John.
Hey, Chet. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you doing?
All right, keeping busy.
Keeping busy, aren't we all? I thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. You've been on the list for a long time for me.
I'm very flattered to be part of your library of artists.
Yeah, well, you're one of the artists I collect as well. I've got quite a few of your original little small pieces and drawings, and I have kind of a lot of your work.
I appreciate that. It means a lot to me when an artist of your caliber collects my work.
Oh, thank you. I'm a huge fan, though. I mean, I think I said this to you when we tested this out the other days. I think you're one of the most underrated, amazing artists out there today. That's in this, in this peer group of artists. It's like, I can't understand why you're not a bigger name because your stuff is so good. It's so good. I just love it.
Well, thank you. It's I just you do stuff that you're always trying to create art that you're proud of and happy with, and you want to try to evolve as an artist. So I appreciate that guys like you and some other artists that I really respect like my work.
Yeah.
And, I'm a big fan of your work as well. I've been for years.
I appreciate it. That's cool. That's good to know. Well, I think we have a lot of similar influences in a way because we're probably around the same age, roughly. I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
20.
Yeah, right. We're Generation Y, or I don't know what the new. I just read it. What the new generation is called.
Oh, really?
There's X. No, it was X. Y. No. Z, Generation Z. There's some new one that they came out with, but it doesn't matter.
Gosh.
Anyway.
Who comes up with that? Who decides?
I don't. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, is there some
crop of people is going to be designated what phylum?
Yeah, right. There's some committee out there.
Yeah.
Probably a bunch of assholes.
Well, probably.
Self-important assholes.
Well, yeah, I like the station we're at, so I'll take our generation.
Yes. Yeah. We are Gen X, I believe, right?
I don't know. I was born in 1965, so.
Yeah, I'm 67, so that's Generation X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
cream of the crop.
Yeah, that's right. You're influenced by Mad Magazine for sure, right?
Yes.
Yes, I see that in your work big time. In a good way.
I was a huge. I love Mad. I wasn't into standard superhero comics.
Same here.
I was. First of all, I was into monster comics.
Yes, me too. You're the first person I've interviewed in 150 episodes that was into monster horror comics and not superhero comics.
Yeah, I was crazy about that stuff, and it didn't exactly jive with a lot of other kids in my age group. But I don't know. I didn't care. I was into horror comics, and then I was into Warren publications.
Yeah, Warren was amazing.
Creepy, Eerie, Vampirella, Famous Monsters.
Yes.
And I went to my first convention in 1975, which was the Famous Monster Convention.
Wow, you are lucky. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was an accident. I was in Manhattan with my mother, and I just happened to spot a kid on the other side of 42nd Street with a red bag, and it had a graphic image of Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
Lon Chaney's Senior's Phantom of the Opera, and I was like, "What's that?" And we found out that there was a convention up the street, and we went back the next day, and I got to see Forrest Ackerman, Peter Cushing.
Oh my God.
And Ingrid Pitt.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah. It's funny. I see images of that convention on the internet, and I'm like, geez, I can't believe I existed in that era.
Right.
With the haircuts and the clothes, everyone had like striped shirts on, and
oh yeah.
It was kind of goofy, but I was like, wow, I was in that world.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting.
Tough skins.
Yeah. Tough skins. My Wranglers and like.
Yeah.
But,
that's amazing. Yeah. That must have been the first one.
I think there had been other ones, but that was my first convention. Like I said, it was an accident.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I wasn't one of these kids who was like, oh, let me look around, let me research, see if I can find things. I just kind of happened upon things, and I was kind of lucky for certain things. So
well, it was back then. It's not like you could easily research something like that. You had to probably subscribe to Famous Monsters and
right.
What I mean?
Yeah, you had to read them.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I saw an interview with like Rick Baker, and he was like, "Yeah, I used to buy a magazine. I don't know if I used to read them though. Just look at pictures." But yeah, I was crazy about that stuff. I just got all kinds of. I used to watch, the horror movies that would come on TV, and anything Hammer films or Godzilla, and all that. Chiller Theater I used to watch.
Yep.
So
Yeah, the good old days.
yeah.
I mean, I was the same way too. It was horror comics and horror movies. I tried to do the superhero thing and I just could not get into it. I seriously think it was the costumes that threw me, like the tights and cod pieces. It didn't appeal to me. Like it wasn't like fantasy enough for me or something.
Heroic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know what it was. It's just I tried though. I remember for a while there was one that was like Plastic Man that I kind of, or it wasn't Plastic Man. It was a guy like Plastic Man. I forgot his name, and I kind of liked that. But then then I saw Heavy Metal magazine, and that was between that and all the EC comics and the Warren stuff. My friend's dad was an artist who, like a commercial artist, and he used to get all the Warren magazines, and
cool.
we would go through his all his Warren stuff, and I remember looking at Eerie for the first time,
right?
And I was probably 6 years old or something, and seeing like this violent. It was Richard Corben, and it was a priest character getting like his face slashed with a switchblade right through his eyeball, and just the shock.
That's what it's called, the Butcher.
Yes, the Butcher. Yeah, that's right. That's amazing.
I'm a huge fan, so I know.
Yeah. That one really did a number on me. Like I remember just the impact of seeing that as a little kid. Like, it was, I don't know, shocking to me, but I just loved it. I couldn't get enough.
Yeah, it's that weird combination of like revolt and you're like drawn to it. You know, you're not supposed to look at it, but you keep peeking at it and stuff. But yeah, I was definitely that kind of kid. And the first issues of Creepy and Eerie were brought to my house by my aunt. My father's sister used to read them, that and Vampirella, which is not exactly appropriate for children.
Right.
But she would read them, and she'd bring them over, and she'd drop them. Hey, something for the boys. Me and my brother. My brother wasn't as interested, but I'd pick them up, and I'd look at them. I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I have to read it. I have to obsess over it.
And the artwork was amazing too. That was the other thing. It's like, especially Richard Corben stuff was so. He has such a style, and it's like his characters are always like kind of short and stocky.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was
It
was a weird thing that he did, but that added to the weirdness to me. You know, it's like it something, I don't know, something about it was like, this is weird on all these levels and really well done, to where it just was like, I loved it. I loved it right away.
Yeah, he created his kind of his own anatomy,
right?
His own beings.
Yeah.
These they were stocky and very kind of the faces were very kind of extreme,
right?
And very a lot of action, and he did his homework with lighting and shading and anatomy. He was put a lot of work. More than a lot of artists would bother to it for magazines. So.
Right. Yeah, they looked like a race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all his characters looked like they belonged to this other race, Richard Corben race.
Right. His planet. Well, I mean, you think about it, like all artists are kind of a god over the images and things they create. They're everything they create answers to them. So
right.
So.
Makes sense. I wonder if he's a short, stocky guy. I've never seen a picture of him.
He's not. Well, I don't know how tall he is, but I know he used to be like a bodybuilder.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and he's and I think he was also into martial arts. So he was a formidable looking guy.
Yeah.
So
okay, and then Mad Magazine was a big part of my childhood as well. And were you into Mad? You were into Mad Magazine, right?
Oh
yeah. Because
I used to get Mad Magazine. Also, it was combination horror comedy.
Right.
The artwork was wonderful. I was a big Mort Drucker fan.
Me too, man. Mort Drucker was the man. He was my favorite. Yeah. Him and he was like the best at the characters, I thought.
Right.
I talked about someone else I interviewed on this podcast about, I don't remember who it was, but we talked about how there was like him and a couple other guys that did
Right.
caricatures, and Mort Drucker's were always definitely the best. And then the other guys didn't quite nail the likeness like Mort Drucker did.
Yeah, Mort was he was a genius. I mean, he's still alive. He's a genius.
Yeah.
And it just seems so easy. You know, his work seems so natural and easy.
I know.
He's not laboring over it.
Right.
Looks very you know, he just has a naturalistic style, and you can just see through like the line work. The guy's just kind of like a rapier on the page, you know,
Right.
and the way he kind of works things out is pretty amazing and inspiring.
Yeah.
I also like the guy. I learned to like, not learned to like, but I learned to appreciate Jack Rickard, who was another.
Yeah, I'm not
bad guy. You probably know his work. He did a lot of
probably.
kind of,
Oh yeah, I know the name. I can't place the artwork though.
right. He did that cover. I believe he did the cover. It was like a men's shower, and they show the guys with they have sunburns on their bodies, except for Alfred. His sunburn is over his ass, as if he's wearing something like his whole body's covered up except for his ass or his
Yeah, Mad.
pubic area.
It was, you know, the thing about Mad Magazine that people may not realize, especially younger people that weren't into it. It was really kind of, you know, I hate to use the term, but it was kind of punk rock.
Yeah.
You know, it was very subversive. It was very like subversive. I don't know. It was critiquing popular culture in a big way and making fun of everything.
Absolutely.
In a really smart way too.
Yeah, it was very. I don't know if people would appreciate it on the same level now if it was on the newsstands now. I think it would be considered too outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the humor really, like you said, skewed society, and things that considered respectable institutions and military and politics and cultural movements. So do
you remember the Mad Fold-ins?
Yes.
Did you used to make your own Mad Fold-ins? I used to make my own Mad Fold-ins.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What kind of images? What kind of imagery did you?
It was, you know, there's the only one I remember. I think I still have it somewhere, and it was like when it's closed, it was like kind of a monster face, of course, and then when you open it, it was like a cave with like a guy inside the cave. I don't. It wasn't. You know, it was stupid, but it worked.
It made perfect sense at the time.
It worked though. You open it up and it's a different picture than when you fold it up. But I mean, it was great. And Don Martin, I love Don Martin's stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's amazing. And Sergio Aragonés.
Yeah,
however you pronounce his last name.
Al Jaffe.
Al Jaffe. Yeah, I've got a bunch of those books, the little paperbacks too. Still.
Oh yeah.
Al Jaffe was awesome. Inventions. He had those like weird inventions and stuff. He would. Anyway, okay. Let's not get off on a Mad Magazine tangent. I bring it up because your stuff has that vibe to it, or some of your work, because you kind of do different. You know, you're not like just doing one thing. You know, you've done some really cool monsters, which I have some of your monster paintings, and you do those amazing women. Those women you do are just like, nobody's doing that. It's so great because they're like, they're so well drawn and, you know, kind of attractive and ugly at the same time.
Yes.
I love that.
Well, you know what it is? I have this thing where it's that I like. I'm trying to explore what makes things attractive, things that are not obviously attractive, but they have some odd attraction to them, and that's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Yeah, you
want some, because I always get people like, I don't know what to put, like, so, and it's that weird balance that the twilight zone of attractiveness. It's like I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about this person that is like I find alluring, and that's kind of what I try to put in my in those pieces. So
it's it's funny you have the what's the little booklet you sent me What's it called? It was called. It's on the tip of my tongue.
There was Jive About. Then there was what was it called?
It's not. It wasn't that
Deep
one.
Drag.
Yeah, Deep Drag.
Right.
My granddaughters. My granddaughters love that book.
Oh, okay.
It was like sitting out, and they were just fascinated with this book, which I thought was hilarious.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, totally cool. Like they appreciated it.
Well, it's supposed to be not. It's not. I'm not trying to be serious in a way.
Right.
It's trying to be charming in a weird way.
Yeah.
And it's
you
want strange attractions.
They're so good though. I mean, I love those. And then the other thing that blew me away was you did that sculpture for Conjoined. And, and that was amazing to me because that sculpture looked exactly like your drawings. And I mean, are you a sculptor?
Well,
because that was like a super, like the only, it was like, you were like, it's like you've been a sculptor all your life. That's what it looks like. It
I haven't.
Blew me away.
I've been dabbling on and off throughout the years. I wish you did more consistently. Maybe I'd be more comfortable with it if I had worked with it more regularly. But no, I haven't been doing it that long. I think I started in the early or mid '90s. Mm-hmm. I would see. I had a friend who would get those like.
That's a long time. That's a long time ago.
What's that?
It doesn't seem like that long ago, but it's actually a long time ago.
Guys our age are like, oh yeah, the '90s, the good old days for some people. I'm like, really?
I wasn't even born yet. It was how people in the audience are saying.
I go further back. But I don't think of the '90s as being that long.
I know, it's weird, right? It's fucked. That's a fucked up thing about being our age. Is it just the '90s don't seem like that long ago?
No, they don't. And it's like, I guess I haven't worked things out. That's why they don't seem that long ago. Still working on the sculpting. Still an amateur.
That sculpt
only since the '90s. But
I mean, have you done a lot of sculpting before you done that? Because I remember I thought you said that really you hadn't done a ton of sculpting.
No, I hadn't.
So I wasn't expecting a sculpture that good when you sent it in, and it was perfect. It was amazing. It was exactly like your 2D work.
Well, listen, I was very flattered that you invited me to the show. I remember I put a piece up on Facebook, and you saw it, and you're like, you sculpt? And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I guess so. And then you invited me to the Conjoined show. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, so, I love that piece.
But yeah, I what got me into sculpting was that it wasn't the good sculptors, the bad sculptors. The people who are like, I know I could do better than this. Right. It's like, this guy's in a magazine. I mean, I don't mean to be patting having it sculpted. I'm thinking I can definitely do better than this. So,
wow.
I don't know why I'm holding myself back, but so yeah, that's why I got into. I mean, it's a different art form from painting and drawing, and it's really wonderful, to be able to turn something in space,
right?
And kind of create and especially if you do a little figure, it's it's so cool to have something, like a little being, So.
Right. Well, the cool thing too with that sculpture was that you painted it,
right.
That the painting on it was amazing. It was. I don't know. I love that piece. Okay, so I want to know like how you got where you are today. Like, I'm sure you have to be one of these kids that was like an art kid in school, right?
Yeah. I was. Well, yeah. I was always doing art. At home. Mm-hmm. And then someone told me about an art high school, so I tried. For the High School of Art and Design in Manhattan, and that's where I went.
Oh, that must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was great. It was, it was the early '80s, And most of the artists there were like graffiti artists, you know, because in New York that was the high art form. Well, at least in the streets it was.
Right.
But everyone had the black books where they were doing tags, and they were working with design markers and doing these really elaborate designs.
Wow, in the early 80s?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't realize that was such I didn't know that was an early 80s thing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I crept in from the 70s, but that's when I started high school, so I saw like a large group of people who were doing it. I mean, I see it on the train.
Right.
And like, okay, I can't see what stop that's coming up because the windows are covered with paint. so to see it in books, to see guys with the little, the black books and, with the markers and doing really elaborate, gorgeous designs was wonderful. And it was, art school was great. We were all kind of learning together. It was very exciting,
I bet, especially.
And we're all showing each other, a guy who would come up with a book and he put it on the desk and the rest of the people would come around and look and the guy would open up his stuff, show something he worked on last night. It was a very exciting time. And I got a black book. I didn't know why everyone had one. I bought a black book. I was like, okay, I'm not a graffiti artist, but I guess I better buy one. So I bought one. But it was wonderful. It was a great time. And so I went there, and then I went to SVA, School of Visual Arts, also in Manhattan.
Okay.
And the second year, I took a year off, and I'm still in the same year. I never went back.
Really?
No, I never went back.
So what did you do? You started working or what?
Yeah, I started working. I got jobs here and there.
Like what kind of jobs?
I worked for like California Closets, and I worked at a pharmacy and a liquor store.
Oh, okay. So you hadn't gotten art jobs yet?
No, I hadn't. I got into I worked at a silkscreen factory, but not. I was mixing the inks at a silkscreen factory.
Sort of art related.
Pardon?
Kind of art related. It's a little closer.
Yeah, because I used to make shirts of my own designs. So I did this T-shirt of what's his name? Tim Burton. I was a big Tim Burton fan, and now it's the late 80s. I'm a big Tim Burton fan. He was the young, interesting guy whose work seemed like, the kind of stuff I love.
Right.
And so I did a caricature of Tim Burton. I put on a T-shirt. And I was dying to get out of the silkscreen business. So I made a package up. And I put I actually got the address for his office in California. And I made a package with some designs. I put the T-shirt in because, I'm sure he's going to be walking around with a T-shirt with his likeness. That's it. But I didn't know this. I'm a young guy. I don't know. Like,
yeah, right.
What's the T-shirt in there? You'll love it. It's got his face on it. It's got his name big on a white T-shirt. Yeah, on the set of Batman. You must be the director. It's got your name on it. You're Tim, right? So I sent it like overnight because I was like desperate. I sent it UPS, and I'm at home. I'm at work rather, and my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, I get a call from her. She says, I just got a phone call from Tim Burton's office that they received your package.
What?
And to call them.
No way.
And I was like, see you guys later. I'm out at Silkscreen Factory now. So I think I walked out the house. I walked out of the factory. And actually, that was another time I walked out. I was always storming out. So there goes John again. I'll be back. Don't worry about it. So I went. I was like, how many? I was like, what did they say? What did they say? They said, they received the package to call them.
What was in the package? Just the shirt, or was it more
my
stuff?
Artwork.
Okay.
Oh, I want to work for you. Some artwork, some drawings of aliens and weird shit, and the T-shirt.
Right.
That was going to get me.
That was your foot in the door.
That was going to get me into the movie business, was that T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so I called them up. I got a secretary.
Oh, I bet you were so nervous.
Oh, my gosh. I'm calm now by comparison. But I was like, how many? Is this Tim Burton's office? He said, yes. And I said, you got the package? Yes, we got it. I go, will he see it? She goes, yes, he will see it.
Wow.
And then she goes, are you willing to move out to California? I'm like, yeah. Okay, well, we'll let you know.
Wow.
That was it. Nothing happened, but I have that story.
That's kind of amazing.
And then, you know what? I've told this story on, it used to be on DeviantArt. I put the picture up, the Tim Burton character on DeviantArt, and put this story, and people are like, do you still have that address? Do you still have a phone number? Like, no, a decade ago.
Wow. So did you never like called back and kept bugging them?
I wasn't that kind of, listen, I didn't have that nerve to like,
right.
So where are we at this point with this? And I wasn't like,
right.
I was just waiting.
Right. That must have been exciting though.
It was very exciting, but
what happened next? Where did you go from there?
Let's see. I tried to get some. I worked at a Eves Brooks costume company that was in Queens, New York, and then I worked at a stationery store, and then I got into comics. I wasn't into comics. I had friends in high school who had gotten into the industry as inking backgrounds, which is how people started out as inkers. They don't give you a book. You work for an established inker, and you do the straight lines, and you fill in the blacks and things like that. So I had some friends who were in comics, and they were starting a new company called Valiant Comics. And they said they needed colorists, and I was like, it sounds like steady work and art. So I tried out. I did a sample. I didn't know how to color, but I didn't tell them that. So they gave me a sample page, and I colored that out, and they said, okay, all right, so you're in. So I worked there for a few years as a colorist. I mean, it was always an artist.
Right.
But, I spent a lot of time as a colorist. I worked for them in DC. I started doing coding type coloring for DC Comics and Blue Line Comics, which is where, you paint on a board and have the sheet with the artwork like on clear acetate, and you color underneath and lift it up just to see what it looks like against the black. And then when they print it, they place it together.
Oh, wow.
So I worked for them for a while, and then I did some coloring for Topps. I worked on the Star Wars Galaxy, and I became friends with a couple of editors up there. And then when I started to learn how to paint, I went to them and told them I was a painter now.
Right.
So I actually they gave me some work.
Yeah.
And I started on a card set called the Bathroom Buddies, which is, have you heard of it?
No.
Exactly.
Is it their version of like the Garbage Pail Kids or something?
They did Garbage Pail Kids, but they were trying to branch out to something more,
bathroom. They're like, I know. We'll make it more disgusting. What can we do that's more disgusting than Garbage Pail? Bathroom Buddies.
Bathroom Buddies.
That's hilarious.
So I did a few of those cards, and then I started. I started getting some painting work for a couple of friends of mine started their own comic company called the Event Comics, and I did some illustration work for them. Then I started doing pencil and inking, my own stuff, my own work, and then it grew from there.
Wow.
And then, I met a lot of cool people and got to work with my heroes and stuff like that. So
yeah, you did a lot of Top stuff, right? Didn't you do Mars Attacks, some stuff from Mars Attacks or something?
I did some sketch cards for them. You know what it's like? I also, I I had a sketch card that I wanted to keep for myself, and some guy wanted to buy it off me, but I was like, nah, I want to keep this one. And he goes, oh, well, how much you want for it? I go, so I came up with some outrageous number, and he went for it.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, I don't have that card. So I did paintings for myself to kind of make up for that lost sketch card that I had painted. So I did this Mars Attacks piece with these the two Martians looking at this woman in the middle.
Yeah.
There's like kind of a wild, these. I always had this thing about like. It's funny because I remember it from one of the Warren comics, a story where like this elf is looking at some guy he's talking to, but he's looking at him through the corner of his eye. And I remember thinking, Jesus, that's creepy. So I remembered that. So I did that with the aliens, with the Martians, and I put the woman in the center screaming.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm sure you've posted it, or it's maybe because I've definitely seen that one. That's great. Yeah.
So.
Wow. Were you doing that? Was that like acrylic work? Was that all in acrylic?
Yeah, I got into acrylics. I taught myself acrylics. I actually wanted to try to get into watercolors because I had been coloring for Valiant Comics with like Dr. Martin's watercolors, but I was coloring. I wasn't painting.
Right.
And I learned. Gee, watercoloring is really hard.
Yeah, it's super hard.
So I said, oh, maybe I'll try acrylics, and they dry, and so I can kind of work with those, and that's how I got into that. I studied the art of Glenn Fabry.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Creature covers, and Hellblazer.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's amazing. I'm friends with Glenn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was I knew this art dealer who knew him, and I told him, I'm trying to learn how to paint, and he goes, well, I know Glenn Fabry, and he gave me Glenn's phone number. So I called up Glenn. It was like, you don't know me. I'm calling from America. And I was talking to him. He was very nice, and we've become very good friends. But I studied his work and Simon Bisley and, of course, Corben. I wanted to, you look at stuff, it's like, why does this work?
Right.
Why does this shading work? Why does this look like it goes in? Why does this, why do these colors pop? And I learned about, complementary colors, interesting combinations that make things dynamic and bright and punchy, and weight. I don't like that are too kind of flimsy feelings. So I get a little, I try to make things really kind of extreme with the colors and, very rich and sensual.
Yes. Oh, you definitely do it. You definitely hit that mark for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah. You're a very, very skilled drafts person, I guess.
Thanks.
I
like everybody else, I'm just always trying to raise my game, and like I don't know, like I do a piece and I'm like, this is good, but I'll get it right next time.
Right.
It's always I'll get it right next time, So.
Yeah. Right.
But.
You I mean, how. Do you still? I mean, does Topps do anything anymore? Are they still doing?
Yeah, they're still putting out Garbage Pail Kids and
really
some other card series and stuff.
And
yeah.
So
listen, I was too old to buy them when I was when they first came out. I was 20 when they first
right.
were released. So it's like I don't have like that kind of connection to them.
Yeah, but we were Wacky Packs, right? Were you Wacky Packs? That was that was my Garbage Pail Kids was Wacky Packs.
Yeah, that vulgar, like kind of gruesome and gross. I'm like, what? And the colors were so bright.
I know I thought those paintings were so. I just loved them. I mean, I loved the artwork on them. They were funny and gross and weird and clever, but the paintings I thought were really good. Like I remember looking at Thinkies, the Twinkies that was brain filled Twinkies, and
pinkies.
Bone Ammy. There was one Bone Ammy, which was Bon Ammy, and it was like
Right.
bone polishing cleanser. And I just remember, I don't know who that artist was. That there was this one painter though that I think it seemed like one guy that did all these wacky packs, and they were so good. And you see a color sense that keeps repeating itself in some of the cards. Right.
Besides, like obviously the style and the characters, and that's why you can kind of tell. Oh, this is the same artist who I'm guessing it's the same artist who did this card or this card.
Right.
It's good. Such interesting color choice. I love interesting color choices.
Yeah.
You make wonderful, interesting color choices. And,
thank you.
So sometimes I look, I was like, I got to steal that combination.
Hey, I felt that. I felt that same way with the. I think I bought. This is one of the pieces I own of yours. I think it's like this weird purple one. Do you remember me buying that one from you? It was like,
which one?
It's up on my mantle. I would have to go and look. I haven't framed it yet.
The one with the lips or something?
Oh no, yeah. There's that one with the lips, and it's got the X up here. Right. There was this one that was like this weird, dark purple, like purples and blacks. It's really creepy and monstery. I'm pretty sure I bought that one.
Okay. Either that or you stole it. Okay.
But I remember seeing that one and thinking,
I don't remember it, so it's okay.
No. It's I know. I've got a whole wall of these little like small paintings that I could afford that all need to be framed, and they're kind of like layers thick of these paintings. Right, it's like I need to get these framed so I could display them properly, and they've been sitting there forever. But yeah, I remember seeing the color scheme on this one, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna steal that, or not really, but more like inspiring.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always looking at other artists' work. I don't know if other people do it, or maybe they do and they don't say it because they want to pretend everything comes out of them.
Right? No. Yeah.
I think it's a good way, to grow and evolve as an artist, to keep it exciting.
Yeah.
See what other people, is introduced into the mix of art. So.
Yeah, it's part of the whole thing. I mean, it's part of the process is learning, seeing what other artists that are doing good work, what they're coming up with and the colors they're using, and then we, we borrow a bit and from each other, and we try and put our own spin on it.
Sure. Yeah. We apply it to our things and we tweak it a little here and there. And,
yeah.
I mean, that's how style kind of comes about,
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, like initially, I'm speaking for myself. Style came from, first you start copying other people's work.
Right.
Literally drawing the same picture, and then you start, getting a little better at what you do, and still copying someone else's work. But then you start adding certain things, and you just go in slightly different directions, and you just keep evolving and morph into your own style.
Right.
Over time, it takes, some people, I guess they have this natural kind of vision, but it's a process, and it's always evolving. I mean, it's a nice thing to keep finding things that excite you, and that this is different, and let me go in this direction, or let me add this, or
right.
Let me ease up on this one thing that I've been doing so long that it's getting tired. So
I'm just looking. Your stuff is so good. It just kills me. I'm just looking. I was doing a Google search. This one with the woman. Okay. There's this goofy looking woman, and around her head there's the lady with the donuts, like a cupcake on her butt, and these.
Oh yeah,
and and the Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. I love that one. Actually,
so fucking funny. It's hilarious, and it's so good. Oh my god, I can't believe how good you are. It just kills me, man.
Yeah. That's called Poor Little Greenie.
Yeah, that's.
I think that was a show that Josh from Creep Machine curated.
Oh,
and
okay.
it was like it was like addiction or something. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people who were either liquor or drugs or
Oh, I
this.
see. I see.
And I picked the absinthe.
Right.
So so I got this kind of just put all this weird shit in there that was like
It's so amazing.
the woman is like she's got this kind of like like she's, her head is out there.
It's too good. Maybe we could use this for the cover image of the.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Because this is such a great. It's so you.
Thank you.
You know, it's so well done. I'm gonna save it just to remind myself. Yeah, that might that yeah, and the expression on her face is just it's too fucking hilarious.
It's a goofy charm.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, your stuff is it just blows my mind, man. Really does. So what are you doing now? I mean, are you doing illustration jobs still, or are you doing more of your own fine art? Are you kind of a mix of both?
Yeah, I'm working mostly. Well, I'm doing a lot of commission work right now, and I'm working on my own stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
I got a few projects and ideas. I'm looking maybe to do a sequential art story. Do a comic story. Of my
Cool.
own.
Yeah.
I've been throwing that around for years, so I want to get on that finally. So that and just anything that tickles my fancy. And then, like I said, I have commission work, which is nice.
Is it like private commission stuff, or is it commissions for commercial art type stuff?
No, it's private commission.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So when you do commission work, how often do you get, I want this specific thing versus do whatever you want within this realm or whatever? What is it?
Well, a good part of them are actually Garbage Pail Kids commission.
Oh, okay.
But most, and then people you love. I'm sure you love the same thing. It's like just do what you like.
Yeah.
Do what you love.
That's the best. That's when you make the best work too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's because you're kind of doing it for yourself.
Right.
And it's like, okay, yeah, this is fine. Yeah, I'll go in this direction, and you're not kind of worried about what the other person's gonna, and you're not confined to their, some rigid idea they might have of what the.
It fucks you up.
You learn that people don't know what they want ultimately. Most
right.
people.
Yeah.
Just they know what they like.
Right.
When they see it.
Yeah, right.
But they can't really do, like verbalize it or describe it in a way. So you're like, yeah, this is what you like. This is what you wanted. Oh,
yeah, right.
Oh, you're right.
I find that when things get very specific, I don't like to really do those kind of commissions when it's like when there's a lot of guidelines on it, because then I don't have part of creating great work is I think, I'm sure you would agree, is allowing yourself to follow this painting and kind of let it tell you what it wants and change a little bit here and there. Right. And sometimes it's small changes, that you didn't have planned out in the study or whatever, or the sketch. And they're small little things that you end up changing that really make the painting great in the end. And when it comes to when I'm doing a commission for someone that has that I know is very picky about what they want, it makes me second guess that all the time. You know what I mean? So the ultimate is kind of when you have someone telling you, even if they give you some guidelines, do your thing, just do your thing within, I kind of want this sort of character, and then do your thing. And then it's a lot easier to do. But man, I kind of freeze up when I get too much input, it really screws me up. And I feel like I'm not delivering the best painting that I can. And I want to deliver the best painting to this person.
Absolutely. Well, it is because what they like isn't something they commissioned you to, in terms of things they see you've done. They see your work and they're like, oh, this is fantastic. Can you do this for me? And then they try to narrow it down into, listen, they're paying, I guess they get to make the call. But it's almost like people don't understand what they like about your stuff. And what they like about your stuff is that it's you kind of running free. And like you said, following like doors that open up as you proceed, or you realize this thing I had here in the corner doesn't really work. And
right.
This detail really doesn't work. It would be better if I just went over it with black or something.
Right.
So, they don't understand the problem. Like you've come to some of your best work by just kind of following, you're in a trance and you're kind of just following your instincts, and you're just you're not even thinking. It's just, okay, this doesn't make sense, and I think that's but when they give you these rigid guidelines, now you keep stopping and thinking about, well, this isn't, like you're kind of drawing or painting over something they suggested, and you don't want to paint outside the lines of what they asked for, and even though it would make it better. Right.
So
and they can't make that decision because, first of all, maybe they don't have that intuition and they're not there. So
right. And and a lot of times, most of the time, they're not artists, so they don't paint, they don't design paintings, they don't know what the whole process is like.
Right.
So I always try and state up front, that I kind of need a certain amount of freedom, mainly because, not because, I just want it to be super fun for me. It's more like I want to make sure that you get what you're paying for, which is a good piece,
right?
And but I've got one right now that I'm doing a portrait of a collector, and she's been so cool about it. Aside from waiting forever, I'm so late on it, but I'm fine. I mean, God, she's been so patient with me, but she's like totally just like, I'm not going to say anything. She said, just make me really fucked up looking, which is, or really creepy and fucked up looking. I think that's what she said, but it's like, but she just doesn't want to say anything. And it's like, oh, this is good. And now I'm so into this commission. Like I want to drop everything and finish this thing, but because I have that freedom, and I know that, I did the little study. I did like a Photoshop study, and it's like, oh, this excites me. This is something I would paint for myself, and I know it's going to be a really good painting because of that.
Right. Yeah. And then everyone wins in the end.
Right. Exactly. So
because you did something you're proud of and happy with, and she gets a Chet Zar.
Right. Yes, exactly. Something I would have painted out of pure love for it anyway. So do you do commercial work from time to time?
I've done some stuff in the past.
But not too often anymore?
No, not too often.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, they kind of pay well, but
I know, right?
I did stuff. I did some artwork years and years ago for the Cartoon Network website.
Oh, wow.
The Mad cartoon, I did some artwork for a segment.
Well, what do you mean? What?
There was what's it on? It's on the Cartoon Network, the Mad cartoon. I did
I don't know.
Mad magazine.
Yeah.
Cartoon. And I did some artwork. It was supposed to be posters, posters for American movies translated into Japanese. So I did the artwork for the poster.
Oh, cool.
And I put in all this work, and stuff was on for like $1 billion for the second.
Oh,
meanwhile, oh my God, you gotta get this really good. It's like, my God, I blinked and the segment was over. I forgot about one image, but
yeah, it
was cool.
This is makeup effects. This is one of the many reasons I wanted to get out of the business is, I did this one. I know I've talked about this before on here, but I did this one alien character for Men in Black 2, where I got to art direct it. Kind of got left alone. It was amazing, and so I designed this really cool character where parts of it were going to be green screened out. I don't know how. I mean, it was a full body sculpture, mechanical head,
right?
And it was months I worked on this thing, and then they didn't even shoot it.
Oh my
so
God.
It's like, and then when stuff does get shot, it happens. It shows up for a billionth of a second again,
Right.
or 1 second or 2 seconds, and then it's over. And it's just like, man, it's hard. It's hard to take because those of us, I think, especially people in weird jobs like makeup effects, really kind of niche kind of
Right.
jobs are into it because they totally love it. So you're pouring your heart and soul into something, and then boom, it's just you got paid and everything,
glance.
but it's just like it hurts. It hurts.
I mean, there's so much work put in to make things look naturalistic and punching hairs,
right.
and getting color, skin tones correct, and veins, and this,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it's like, guy looks over his shoulder for a second, and the door slams, and in that slamming slit of the door was the work that you just worked on. It's like, okay, well, there's my screen credit.
Did you never got into? It sounds like you could have been an effects kid. You're into the same stuff as me and an artist.
Yeah, I was. I guess I didn't have the discipline, but I was really into special effects. I buy magazines and books and stuff, but I never kind of seriously put an effort into it. But I was, I like Rick Baker and Dick Smith and
right.
That's
what I'm finding with
Savini.
Right. I'm finding that with these interviews that I'm surprised at how many artists. I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm kind of surprised at how many artists were like fans of makeup effects when they were kids, and they kind of thought about getting into it maybe, but they just didn't do it, and or they were thinking about that. Oh, that's a potential career. I was surprised to hear it. It kind of comes up, I guess, maybe because this is, I'm interviewing artists that do some, do dark artwork and stuff, so it kind of makes sense there. But I just never thought about. I was surprised. There's a lot of artists were fans of makeup effects as like a thing, even though they didn't do it themselves,
Yeah. Well, listen, that's why you're a hero. You broke through.
Well, I got obsessed with it at an early age, like 12 years old. I decided I was going to start sculpting masks, and I just got completely like, when you're a kid and you get into something and it's like no one's gonna it's not even like I have to make a career. It's more like I gotta know how this is done.
Right.
I have to learn how to do this as cool as that thing I saw in that movie. It's just all about satisfying this weird urge you have to do something great.
Well, isn't that wonderful, that obsession though?
Yeah.
It's what drives you to do stuff. Like no one's telling you. It's not a responsibility.
Right.
You will go and do it on your off time. You're a kid. You're running out. You're going to this. You're buying magazines. You're getting supplies to make something. And
you're doing dumb jobs that you don't want to do just to get the money to make the thing.
Right.
I mean, it's kind
That's great.
Yeah, it is great.
Art is about, right? It's about that fever of wanting, it's a wonderful. When you're young, it's fantastic.
I know.
That drive.
Right.
I
think that's what it takes, though, to be great. I think to be a great artist, you have to have the obsession because, I say this a lot. It's the obsession is going to, and the love of what you're doing is going to get you through the hard times. If you don't have that obsessive thing,
right,
you're just going to get to it gets so hard at points that you're just going to be like, fuck it. I'm not doing this anymore. This is too much.
Yeah.
But if you have that like passion for it, an obsession for it. It drives you during the terrible times, and there's a lot of terrible times, right?
Well, yeah, that's for sure.
It's hard sometimes. It's not fun. A lot of the times, it's not fun. It's like Wayne White. Did you ever see that Wayne White documentary, Beauty is Embarrassing?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you got to see it. Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it because the guy he's the guy who did the puppets for Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh, okay.
And he does the word paintings that are hilarious, where he gets thrift store paintings and he does like realistic renderings of phrases, like really goofy like hillbilly phrases and stuff in these serene. It's great. He's amazing, and his art is all about humor, so you'll appreciate it for sure. I know you'll love it. He talks a lot about the Pee Wee Herman days and all the puppets. That whole sounds like it was just amazing. But there's one part of the documentary where he's just painting one of his word paintings. He's like, this is the ditch digging part of painting. Most of it is ditch digging. Most of painting is ditch digging. Yeah. You know, it's like you don't think, people don't realize that it's work. A lot of it is work. You know,
but you like it.
Yeah, it's exactly.
A guy asked me once to do it. This is like 80s. He was like, I was doing airbrush T-shirts, and he wanted me to do T-shirt for him. And I go, oh, you know, and I was like, okay, I'll tell you how much. He goes, what? I go, yeah, you got to pay me. He goes, but you like doing it. I'm like, yeah, I'll tell that to the landlord.
What an asshole. But you like it.
He was young. I was like,
yeah.
I got so angry with him. I was like, really? You don't understand? I'm like giving this shit away.
Yeah, it's merely your personal time. What's that? You like it, you'd be doing it anyway. Why not just give it to me?
Yeah, I get to live eating on my fingernails. Thank you.
One thing I want to say about your artwork too. I love that you. I like that you go into the dark art territories, but you're not specifically like, I'm all dark stuff. It's like I'm all monsters all the time, pretty much.
Right.
And I like that you go into that. You do cool monster stuff, and you know, very respectable, great monster work that's unique in your style. But you also are doing these women and just a lot of different types of work. I think that's cool that you have that range.
Oh, thank you. You know, I don't know. It's I get bored easy.
Yeah.
So I swing back and forth, which I don't, in terms of marketing a guy like me, might not make it easy for somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, well, this is what he does. And I respect people who can like maintain a world and keep adding something fresh to it, but it's still within that, you know, vocabulary of that world. So, but me, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I'll do this horrible, you know, like painting, you know, like I'll just do one of these like dark art pieces where I just look for something horrible in some dark form and paint that. And they're like, you know, let me do this cartoon woman with her ass hanging out of her pants, you know, like in bright colors, you know, and
it seems like those are kind of your two worlds, though. Primarily, it seems like you do the monster stuff, and then you do these women, these amazing women, and then you do some other kind of side stuff as well, like the garbage pail kid type things, but I didn't. What's this? Were you on the cover of Juxtapose? What is this?
Yes.
You got on Juxtapose?
Yeah.
Wow, that's an amazing. Piece.
That's.
And it's totally like a dark art piece too. It's like super dark.
That's what introduced me to the genre. I mean, I was always doing that kind of stuff, but you know, like people really responded to this piece.
Yeah, it's a great piece.
And actually, that was another piece that I did for another show, curated by Josh at Creep Machine.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was a small one. It was like, maybe it's like a dumb size, like 8.5 by 11, like typing paper.
Oh,
size.
really?
I was like, I don't know. Let me fit in this frame. I'm making it 8.5 by 11. A real pro. But yeah, people really like that. I think I had a tattoo of that on his arm.
Wow.
So, like, really?
This would be another good one for the card. That's a hard choice to make between these two, because this is a really popular one.
Yeah. That's.
So this was a Pusshead curated
Yes,
issue.
yeah.
So Pusshead is a fan of yours then.
Yeah, he actually owns some of my artwork. He bought some pieces off.
Holy shit.
He picked that piece to be on the cover. I didn't want it to be on the cover because I didn't own it anymore. Because I wanted a piece that I can be on the cover. Maybe it'll be worth more money.
Hey, it's true.
No. The staff wants it on the cover. I was like, okay.
Well, did you make prints?
Yeah, I did make some prints, and
that sells prints being on a cover too, you know.
Yeah. I've tried to get into prints. You said I was listening to one of your podcasts. You said that you do well by prints, right?
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah. Prints are a big part of my business. Yeah. You don't do a lot of prints?
I do. I've done prints, but
it's not like a regular thing.
Ones. Some of the, I did the Lovecraft stuff and
right.
Some Cthulhu. Cthulhu is very. I had no idea how popular Cthulhu was.
Oh my god! Yes.
I did a cover for Boom Studios.
Mm-hmm. What's Boom Studios?
It's a comic book company.
Oh, okay.
It was, and I was talking to Mark Wade. Gave me the gig. He was like, "You want a cover?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, and he gave me the rate, and it was a very low rate. I go, "But it's a cover, right?" He goes, "Yeah." So I did the Cthulhu. I really wasn't up on Lovecraft's work.
Oh,
so
really?
I did the research.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I could see where this is going. So I came up with an image for the cover.
Which one is this?
It's the one where it's Cthulhu, and there's a guy in the foreground, and he's holding his head that like he's going insane, he's going mad.
Mm-hmm.
Just a big narrative through Lovecraft stuff is like, right. Oh my god, this is too real, Guys collapse. It's like 1920s guys, like suddenly there's a giant green monster behind him.
I don't think
this isn't Al Jolson. But,
I don't think I've seen this one.
Yeah, it's called Cthulhu Tales, or Tales of Cthulhu is the name of the comic.
Okay.
But it really got a lot of attention, and I was like,
oh, I see it. Yeah, oh my god, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so good. You're killing me. Oh my god.
I put flies on it because I was like, that would add like another level of like grossness, because it would imply stench.
Right.
So.
I had your shirt. I don't know what happened. Yeah. That was probably 2 sizes ago. You did a shirt of Lovecraft with the tentacle behind him, right?
Yeah.
I think I wore that in my documentary.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was very. I got a lot of mileage out of that.
That's a great image. It's great, man.
It's funny because a guy wrote me like a private message.
So
he goes, because it's Lovecraft in the foreground, and then there's the tentacles kind of winding in the background.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, were you intending to put the yellow sign in there, from the King in Yellow? And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, from the King in Yellow, the Hasur sign, the yellow sign. I'm like, no, I wasn't, but I'll look it up. But it was interesting.
What sign was he talking about?
There's it's all intertwined with a book called The King in Yellow.
Yeah, I don't think I've read that one.
Yeah, and it's like a crossover with Lovecraft. So he saw imagery there that wasn't intended, but
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I meant to put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what worked out. Oh, I'm so glad you picked it out.
Yeah,
You noticed.
I've found that it seems like Cthulhu, sort of any Lovecraft Cthulhu-ish thing, is sort of like a sure seller if you need money.
Yeah.
You know, doing some like a little Cthulhu type. It's weird. There's this hardcore audience for everything Lovecraft and Cthulhu particularly.
Yeah, well, that's their Mickey Mouse. That's the Mickey Mouse of the Lovecraft world.
Right.
So,
the Mickey Mouse of horror.
right. So yeah, he's very popular.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, this is a business thing, but his like Lovecraft's work is public domain.
I know, right?
So
yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Although, people break copyrights for a lot of monsters that are not in public domain.
Right.
For conventions and stuff, but I try to. Yeah, I only do. I try to only do, stuff that's in public domain. But
sure,
I've skirted around that a couple times. When the demand's there, it's hard not to.
Trying to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people get in trouble because they do certain like Frankenstein and Dracula. I believe those are public domains, but when you do like the universal version,
right,
you get in trouble.
Yeah. But you have to. I think you have to be really. You have to be out there enough to where the families see it. The families of the people who own the rights, like the Lugosi family.
Right.
And I know people that have had prints at Monsterpalooza, I think, and the Lugosis, I think, the Lugosi family, they have a booth there, and they kind of, someone was telling me, I don't think it was on the podcast, and I don't even remember who it was who told me this, but one of the granddaughter or something, or the niece or something was like, oh yeah, you should come by. Oh, this is great. This Dracula thing is great. You should come by our booth. And they went by, and the guy kind of like reamed him when he got there. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Totally tricked him into coming over to the booth.
Settle.
Total setup.
Yeah. Come over here. We're big fans over here.
Yeah.
Lugosi style.
Do you do conventions much?
Yeah, well, I used to do them more often. I would do smaller conventions here in New York. I went to San Diego a few times. I didn't do. I just went as a a spectator. But I used to do New York Comic Con.
Right.
Actually, that's where I met Pusshead. He showed up there.
Oh wow!
And I was selling my first sketchbook, and some guy came by and he bought the sketchbook. I think it was the first person to buy one. And he goes, I'm here for Puzzhead. I'm like, okay. And because I wasn't really aware of his work. I know a lot. I know art, but I don't know the artist sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
So he's like, oh, you should look him up. I was like, okay. And then another time I was there, Puzzhead showed up with this other guy. He says, oh, here's Puzzhead. I'm like, oh my God. And he loved my work. And he goes, I want to know if you want to be in Juxtaposed magazine.
So cool, man.
I know. It's like the thing you see like in movies.
Right.
Oh, do you want to be a star?
Yeah. You were discovered.
So when he walked up, I was like, he's asking me if I want to be in. I was like, let me think about it. Yeah. So that was very exciting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pusshead's amazing. His stuff's pretty iconic and great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was a big fan. He'd be a good guy to get on the podcast. I didn't even think about that. I wonder if he'd do it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be in.
Hey, do you show it Last Rites? Do you ever show them
there? I had some pieces in Last Rites. I don't know. I think they took a different direction, and the direction might not have included me. But, which it's okay, you know.
They don't seem to have a lot. They seem more like serious, dark stuff. Maybe it's the humor. They don't seem to show a lot of funny kind of stuff. Maybe.
Right. Well, listen. It's like I said. I don't take it. It's like whatever. You know, it's a big world, and What got me into Lash Rights in the first place was that Juxtaposed cover.
Oh, right.
And because you know, they came out, and I thought, you know, like the magazine came out, I was like, oh my god, the phone's going to ring off the hook. It's going to be fantastic. And I got contacted by two people. One was
a
skateboard deck company, and the other one was Hustler magazine. And the guy, I was like, they're like, oh, we would like you to do some illustration work for Hustler. I'm like, I'm not exactly going in that direction. And they wrote back, like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, kind of. So I figured I better get out there and, you know, try to, you know, like, see what I can parlay with this, you know, this platform of having the cover plus a feature inside. So I ended up going to Lash Rights because I had been there before.
Right.
And, the cover really helped me, you know, get in there.
Yeah.
And
I
had a few pieces there over the years, but, and, you know, I never had a solo show there, but, you know, I had a decent relationship with them. And, you know, some of the staff there were very cool. Paul's a cool guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's been on the show. He was one of the earlier interviews we did. He's been real supportive of this whole scene.
Yeah, he's
super nice guy.
He's super nice. You ever go in his lair? That
yeah,
room? Yeah.
It's amazing.
I went in there for the first time. Like, I'm in the lair. I made it. I'm in here. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing, his lair.
Yeah.
That whole place, that whole gallery is kind of amazing. I mean, I think it's changed since I've been there, but when I went, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Very, very scary and gothic and cool and theatrical looking inside.
Yeah, he did it like, well, he made it the way we dream. You know, we would dream someone would come up with something where he created this. It looked like a castle inside, gargoyles and corpses and these angels of death. I'm like, I'm home. You know, like,
you never got to see visit Rick Baker's shop?
No. I'm
so it's kind of like that. It was kind of like that too in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you would have loved it. Yeah.
And I must have the invitation must have got lost in the mail. Send my love to Rick. I heard about it. Yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Rick's.
Yeah, he's another really great guy. Super cool guy.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. I love how he just continues to create these projects and these masks. And it's like, wow, that's it right there. You know, just kind of just so excited about things.
Yeah. He's just doing it for fun. He's not selling. He doesn't have to make any money, so he's just doing it because he's retired.
Right.
And what else are you going to do? You know, so he's making shit. It's fucking amazing
and he's sharing
to see.
It with us.
Yeah, right?
Which is wonderful. It's very you know, it's encouraging to know that people, you know, professionals on that level. You know, he's still like a kid.
Yeah, yeah. He's as excited as the people, you know, he's sharing it with. You could tell he's like a kid. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I liked him because he was like the young guy in terms of the makeup world.
Right. Yeah.
And he had the beard and the hair. His hair was long, and
he
was always kind of mugging with his art. Like he was, you know, he wasn't a technician. He was like a fan who did the artwork. You know.
Yeah. Right.
He's always he was so cool.
Yeah.
Still
yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely a fan. He's definitely, it's like same with Guillermo del Toro. It's like he's a fan, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's like us in that way. It's like these guys are fans who made it big.
Well, yeah, I've seen some clips of you know, some video of his home. He's
got,
the coolest shit in the world.
Talk about a crazy lair, man. Guillermo's
he's got a wonderful. I've seen stuff on. You see, like, it's like, oh my God, he's got that artwork from like a book that I remember as a child. You know, like.
No, not to mention the Corbens. He's got a bunch of
yeah.
Richard Corben stuff too. Like, he's into it.
Yeah.
You never met him?
No.
You guys would get along well. You guys would get along well.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we can geek out together.
Yep.
You know, talk about the cool stuff.
Yes.
I remember when you saw that TV movie. What was that? Oh, you did the effects for what's that? Don't be afraid of the. Don't be afraid of the dark.
Yeah. Well,
that was originally a TV movie, right?
Oh my God, yeah. That's why it was so cool to work on that, because I grew up on that.
That scared the shit out of me.
Me too, man. It was like the arm reaching in with the clothes hanger, turning the light off. And
terrible. I had nightmares after that.
The one that got me was the little dude that came out of the flowers at the dinner party.
Right.
That to me was so like creepy.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you just? I'm like, what year did that come out? Like in '72 or something?
Yeah,
like
it was
that?
early '70s for sure.
I was like 7. I'm like, you know what? Why don't you just kill me? I was like, I can't take it. It's so terrifying. But meanwhile, I'm not turning it off. You know?
Right? Oh, that's
it's got Uncle Charlie in it too.
That's right.
Those things are down there. You know, that kind of shit.
Yeah, 1973. I just looked it up. I have to see it now. I have to watch it now. I wonder how bad it's going to be.
I was 8.
What's that?
I thought I was 7. I was like, don't worry. Oh, I was older. I could handle. I was 8.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you, I had nightmares from that stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. And if you remember the creatures, they were like fur suits. It was totally like this thing where it was, I'm sure it was.
Like repurposed.
Yeah, it was from some other movie. Some alien space thing, and then they made a new head or something. But it was
prune head.
Yeah, like prune heads, but they were kind of like cone heads too. Right. You know, and a furry body, and it's kind of absurd, but man, I don't know, it freaked me out. I think it, part of it was it just hit us at the right age. We were at the right age for it.
Yeah.
But the way that they did the effects and the oversized sets was so cool to make them look small. Yeah. And it was really exciting because I just did designs for that just for a couple weeks. I went to.
You did a great job.
Amazing thanks. Job. Yeah,
you made it creepy.
Yeah, it was fun. We kind of went with a naked mole rat vibe for these ones. That was the inspiration. Was the naked mole rat. But I initially, I was going off of my first designs were like, I was trying to make those things.
Oh, okay.
But
trying to honor the original.
Yeah, and try and make them like good, instead of goofy. And but Guillermo wanted to, I think he wanted it to be his, I don't know. And the director, Troy Nixie, I think they wanted to be their own spin on it, which is totally cool. And I thought they were cool. I thought the creatures were cool, but still, it's like I was just thinking of the weird little shriveled prune heads.
Yeah, the 70s had like some serious like horror TV movies like that.
Gargoyles. Remember Gargoyles?
Yeah, Gargoyles.
That was another one.
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me.
And all the Night Stalker stuff.
Yeah.
That was great. I can't figure out why they don't. Now, the Night Stalker, that's something that they should do a reboot on because it was a great concept. But it was like, if you look at them now, they're still fun. But you could do the exact same thing and just kind of do it, better, but do it in do it in the 70s. But it would be fucking great. And I think they did a remake of it, but I heard it sucked. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure
I didn't even hear about it. So
yeah. But I would love to see that. And Trilogy of Terror is another one that was a great 70s one. Black. Oh man, yeah. But that was the thing. It's like I was scared by it, but I couldn't not watch it. It was that weird attraction and revulsion at the same time that I think really was what got me into horror, you know?
Yeah. You want to evoke those feelings in other people through your work, or,
Right.
that whole, listen, you want to disturb yourself and then, and disturb the public.
Yeah.
Stuff. When I do my dark, those creepy things, I want to make it kind of gross, and I want to it's making me uncomfortable. Must be good.
Yeah. Well, that's like you're the hardest person to freak out with your own artwork. So
Right.
you're like, when you can creep yourself out or disturb yourself, you're kind of like, it's really gonna fuck with the general public. But I mean, that's what I kind of am trying with my artwork. I'm just talking to you about this and thinking about it now. It's like that the whole revulsion attraction thing is very present in what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to paint them really well and make them look beautiful as paintings, but still be disturbing. So you've got that kind of push and pull thing.
Yeah.
That makes it interesting, I think.
Oh, absolutely. You find a wonderful balance, and it's a fun game to play.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's really what it is. It's a game. I remember when Mike was making the documentary, that was something that throughout all the talks, all the interviews, it was something that we kind of, or I just thought about for the first time, that painting is like, it really is a game. It's like we're just sitting playing. We could be playing a video game or something, but we're playing the painting game, and it's like it's a puzzle game. It's like a crossword puzzle, or it's like you're basically trying to figure this puzzle out, how to make a good picture.
Right.
And you're doing it alone. It's like solitaire or something.
I know. You're wrestling with this thing.
Yeah, it's just over and over, and the goal of the game is to make a good painting.
Yeah.
And whatever you think is good constitutes what a good painting is. Whatever your standards are, you apply to that. And so it's just over and over, kind of pointless. I mean, not pointless, but you know what I'm saying. It's just,
absolutely.
It's
listen,
just a game.
That's what. It's the struggle. That's what you see in the art. You see that kind of that drawing out and of the feeling. Because I'm always trying to go for a feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Things feel. I mean, they could look right, but you want it to feel right as well. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
You want it to feel. If you create a character or something like that, or a scene, you want it to
an emotion. You want the viewer to feel an emotion.
Right. The right emotion.
Right.
It's interesting to try to kind of get people to feel certain things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you get people who are regarding your own work? Do you ever get people who like really are disturbed by it, or they kind of they kind of get the spirit of what you're going for?
Yeah, I think because I'm well known for this now at this point, it's the people that are seeing my work generally are, the feedback I'm getting is from people who get it, like they totally like get it in the right way, which is really gratifying. They're not like, what? And you have to explain it. It's like, you don't have to explain it, and they totally love it. So that's kind of cool. Every once in a while you get a person who just kind of looks at it, it's like, doesn't know what quite to make. But that's the little trick that I try and do. I try and make the painting, so well painted that they can't at least, or they can't
dismiss it.
Yeah, they can't dismiss it as, oh, it's just horror, dumb horror art, or something. It's whatever, because okay, I might not like the subject matter of this, but this person, spent a lot of time and skill trying to really do a good job with it. So there must be something more to it than I'm seeing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not just some dumb, goofy monster. It's like,
sure.
There's got to be more to it. So I feel like, if your technique is good, which your technique is, amazing, you're able to draw them in and maybe look at something they wouldn't normally look at.
Right.
You know, or appreciate it in a new way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's trying to like almost like trying to bring a new color into the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
That people like respond to something that, especially when they're not a particular fan of a type of artwork.
Right.
But they like yours.
Right.
And that's a really high compliment, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You seduced them with your work.
Yeah, right.
You like my work? Oh.
It's true though.
My web.
I know exactly what you're saying though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of I've really, I kind of get off when I hate to use the term, but like a normal kind of person sees my stuff, someone that you know just looks like your average person that you wouldn't be into this kind of weird stuff. When they see it and can appreciate it, it's like it almost is more of a compliment to me than when someone who looks like they would, you know, likes it because it's more expected, you know. So when it's in, I mean, on one hand, I don't know. I appreciate that kind of normie looking person can step outside of that. And it says a lot about the person to me as well, but to be able to touch a person that's not normally touched by this stuff is pretty kind of exciting to me. And I don't know, it feels like, I don't know, it's like you're connecting.
Well, you reach someone that who wasn't an easy catch,
right,
and that makes your work have a more of a even more nuanced appeal,
right.
And
that's well put.
You know, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's so that's always fun. And in a way, sometimes I wonder, you know, maybe I think our artists, especially artists into horror and weird stuff, you know, we've always felt kind of like marginalized by regular people in a way.
Right.
You know, so in a way, it's like we're making that connection finally. You know.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder how much of that there is in there. I don't know. I don't know. Just wondering.
No, it's nice to get a diverse audience.
Yeah.
Not people who are like, you know, I'm into this crazy stuff. Someone who like, it's like a kind of a genuine. Not that fans aren't genuine, but someone who's like really wasn't expecting. Someone who wasn't expecting to like your work.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
That's like a real win.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got one. Ha ha! This lady with the blue hair likes my work. See that, Danny? She didn't even stop in your painting.
She went right by.
And walked over to mine and leaned in.
She went right by the bowl of fruit, straight over to the monster, and.
That's it. I kind of like this.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Wow. So you're just working on commissions right now. I mean, do you have any big plans what about solo shows? You don't seem to do a lot of gallery shows that I've seen.
No, well, I've to be honest, I've pulled back from being involved with galleries.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, getting, you know, there's like, you know, the cost involved sometimes.
Yeah, especially being on the East Coast. A lot of the galleries are out in LA.
Right.
You know.
So, but you know, I'm interested in, you know, I want to try to, you know, I'm going to start working on more sculpting work, more sculptures, and I don't know. I'd like to raise that game as well in terms of my approach and see what interesting things I can come up with that I don't know. Like to, you know, everyone wants to evolve, so that's what I'm kind of working on.
Yeah. So you're more focused on your artistic, creative evolution, as opposed to any big goals of career or anything like that.
Well, Well, listen, I would like to grow my career, but I don't know. In terms of galleries, I mean, me particular, there was a bit of a challenge for me, so I kind of switched gears. I mean, I'm not saying I'll never go back to galleries, but right now I'm trying to focus on some other avenues of creativity and where I want to feature my work. So
right. Well, I mean, that's I started off when I first started. It was all about the galleries for me. I still show, just every year. This is the first year I'm not gonna have a solo show since I started, pretty much.
Wow.
Because I have to. I got a bunch of stuff I got to get done, commissions and this book and stuff. So I finally was like, okay, I'm not doing a solo show this year. But one thing that I discovered soon after I started showing in galleries was that I can't afford to just have gallery show. I can't make enough. I don't make enough money from gallery shows.
Right.
So that's when I started doing the prints and the merchandising and all the other side business and the commissions and stuff. But I've got a good relationship with Copro. So I've been, and it is good to have. The cool thing about the gallery scene is that it's kind of the ultimate way to see work is in person,
right.
So it allows for like a celebration to happen around your work and people to see the stuff in person, which you don't get from the internet,
Sure. Absolutely.
So yeah. That's the value for me and a little bit of money, I mean, but it's not a little bit of money. It's not enough. It's not enough to, it's maybe the I don't know, maybe the least money making part of my business. It might be gallery shows because the majority is print sales and stuff like that, studies and stuff I sell online.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I kind of backed out, was that it was just like the returns weren't there for me.
If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. It's all there is to it.
Well, it's, if you're working on something for months and you got to have something framed and shipped and then it doesn't sell.
Right.
It's not exactly
it's kind of crazy,
uplifting.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, let me do that again.
I'm just going to keep doing this.
Yeah, this is doing wonders for my morale.
Yeah, it's good to, keep your foot in there though.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep your toes in the water, or however they put it.
Listen, the internet helps to kind of maintain a public, so that the public could see you, right. Facebook and Instagram, and you have the Patreon.
Right.
How's that working out for you? Is that good?
It's great. Yeah, it's great. It's the only problem I've had is that during busy periods, like I was posting every single day. I was just flooding it with content, and then the first deadline hits, and it's like all of a sudden I have to wait, a few days in between posts, and I really wanted it to be what my Instagram used to be, which was everything I was working on every day.
Sure.
But that's been the only hard part, and I do like a tutorial, a monthly tutorial, and I'm like a couple months behind on that because I just got too busy with everything. But people have been really cool about it. They understand. You just got to stay in touch and let people know what you're up to. But a lot, a good chunk of the people supporting the Patreon are just people that want to give you just a little bit of money to help. It's not
right.
like they're even, I have to see what he's working on. Although there are people that join just for the tutorials and to learn, but there's a large amount of people that are just, I want to help. I want you to keep doing what you're doing. I'm a fan of your work. I want to be able to, and I can do $1 a month or $5 a month or whatever.
Right.
So it's hard to get people over to it because it's a newer platform and people are used to getting everything free. on Instagram for like, those social media for the last 10 years. I've been giving it all away for free. So it takes a little bit of time to kind of convince people, but it seems like once they're over there, they love it. They're into it.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's wonderful. I mean, like, yeah, the idea that people are supporting the arts, you know, they want to see what you do exist in the world.
Right.
And,
the ultimate kind of.
They don't want, like the, I don't know, the business world to decide that you exist.
Right.
Or not exist by not like commissioning you or anything like that. So It's actually a wonderful thing when people support artists, know, because it kind of, it keeps it precious. I mean, it's really something special that people go out of their way to say, I want this thing to be in my life, and artists like yourself to be in their life, and to kind of help you, like create, make it possible. So
yeah, I mean, it's like the old patron model. It's just a lot of people coming together and chipping in a little bit instead of a small handful of rich people doing the patron thing. But
yeah,
it's amazing. It's great. Have you thought about doing it?
Oh, it takes a lot of work, doesn't it? Well,
it's not as much as you think, and especially here's the trick. Okay, go ahead. Well, first thing is
everybody listening.
Yes, I'm telling you, and I'm telling everybody out there. The main thing is you have to have a decent following on social media, because I've got like 350 people on my Patreon right now, on my personal one, and I've got over 100,000 followers on Instagram. So it's like a tiny fraction of people that are going to pay from there. So it's like it's your most hardcore fans. Like the people that really are there for you will come to your Patreon and give you $1 or a few bucks a month, or even more than that. So that's the first thing is you have to have at least a handful of people that are really serious about wanting to see you succeed.
Sure.
And then the other thing is, as long as you state up front what this Patreon is going to be, that if you say, look, I know a lot of artists that only post like once a week or once every couple weeks sometimes.
Sure.
And everybody knows we're just helping so-and-so out because we want to see them create artwork. And we know that there's only going to be a post every week or once a month even sometimes. It's all about, transparency and stating what you can give to this thing and just kind of letting the chips fall where they may, and then promoting it a lot and saying, look, if you want to support me, this is the way I really would prefer you do it. Because, most people can't afford to buy original paintings, but they could afford $12 a year. Right. Or $1 a month, and you get enough of those people and it adds up. So that's the kind of the deal with Patreon. If you go on there and just say, look, I don't know, I'm going to give this a shot. I'll try and post this much. These are the things I will try and get, but it's, I'm still feeling it out. People are cool about it as long as you're open about it.
Right. You're not promising them the moon or the stars and handing them a ham sandwich.
I don't. I'm a big proponent of it, so I'm always telling my friends and give it a shot if you think you have the fan base, and if you don't think you have the fan base, then you should be building up your fan base on the free social media pages so that you can bring them over in the future.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I assume that running a Patreon page is kind of like running a television station or something where you have content and.
It's not though. It can be.
It isn't? Okay.
It can be that, or it can be. Here's one photo a week of what I'm working on.
Okay.
Or it could be every day you're posting videos. It could be. That's one of the cool things about it that I really love is that it can be. There's Patreons that have never existed yet that no one's thought of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I keep telling Copra, you should start a Patreon for the gallery.
Right.
And show behind the scenes of what it's like to have a gallery. And I would find that interesting. I know a lot of people.
It would be valuable.
Yeah.
some people.
Right. Yeah. And interesting. I think it would be really interesting. So it's kind of like, it's an open book. It's a blank book, and you can create however creative you want to get. It could be, you could start a Patreon for your comic you want to do, and you could say every time I finish a page, I'm going to post it on the Patreon just for Patreon people, and I'm going to eventually publish this thing. You know, cool. Whatever. It's
those are great ideas.
Yeah. So it's like, what I would suggest is to go on there and create an account and just join like 5 Patreons that are doing well at the lowest level. So it's like $5 a month, and you can just do it for like a month even. Right. So it costs you $5, and then you see what other successful Patreon people are doing, and then just see if it starts making sense for you to do it and get stir your creativity. I should be getting kickbacks from Patreon.
Just send a shitload of people over there. Hey, wait a minute.
I'll tell you what. If you started one, I would subscribe to yours for sure. No question about it.
All right.
So, I think I'd love to see more of your process stuff, because, like I said, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I think people are. I talk to other artists. They said the public's very interested in watching people's process.
Yeah,
and I am as well.
Yeah, right.
I love watching people, how they map out how they do something.
Definitely, that's the new. I mean, this is the new era of reality TV and that show. What was that show that used to be on How Things Work? Where they used to show you how they manufactured stuff. I mean, this is kind of the way things are. People. Bonus features on DVDs and stuff, behind the scenes. People are interested in that stuff now, so it's time has come. Patreon's time has come in that regard. So, I would suggest that you look into it. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. I will definitely look into it.
If nothing else, because I want to see your Patreon.
Thank you so much.
Just do it for me.
A one-member Patreon page.
I've seen them before. But that's one last thing I'll say about Patreon is you can't get some people. One mistake that people make is they create a Patreon and then they don't promote it because Patreon is not. They say it's not a discovery platform. It's like a hosting platform. You have to bring people to it.
Right.
So a lot of times people will start a Patreon and they won't promote it, and they just expect people to find them, and no one finds them, and then they don't get any support, and then they give up, and they're like, fuck it, and they just stop it. But it's one of those things that you have to actively, like every couple days, keep driving people to it, kind of direct everything that way. So that's my Patreon pitch. I will stop Patreon pitch.
Well, thank you.
And if you need any help, you got my cell number now, so you can just hit me up and ask me anytime.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
So, okay, in closing here, what you're just kind of working on commissions. You don't have any shows coming up or any big things you want to promote?
No, not right now. I'll listen. I'd like to ask people to go over to my Instagram page.
Yes.
It's artist johncebollero.com. Not johncebollero.com. What's right? Oh, there's johncebollero.com.
Yes.
This is my website. But my Instagram is artist John Cebollero.
Okay.
And if you don't know how to spell Cebolero, just look at this this interview posted on.
That's right. Well, here's one thing I'm going to ask you after we stop recording is for you to send me all your links, and they will be in the description of the podcast as well. So that's the other way that they can.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So anything you want, I'll put it in there. And the one thing. The one thing I wanted to ask you. This one thing.
All right.
Do you know what does your last name mean? Because my friend, I was telling you. In the early 2000s, I was talking to Mitch, my friend Mitch Devane, who I always talk about. He's like the best sculptor in effects. He's amazing. Totally into all, Mort Drucker and all this cool shit too. Yeah. He's into really cool, that kind of Mad Magazine and all that. He said, his wife is from Spain, and he says, he was like, oh, I was talking about you, about your work. Right. I was showing him your work. And he said, Yes. You know what that means? In Spanish, it means onion seller.
Right.
Like you're selling onions.
The Onion Man.
The onion, is that what it means?
Yeah, the Onion Man.
The Onion Man. John the Onion Man. I love it.
That's it.
I was wondering if he was bullshitting me or not.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay. I've been wondering that for like 15 years now.
Really?
I should have just asked you.
I didn't find out myself not that long ago, so.
Really?
Not like, it's like, oh, you're from a long line of proud onion men. It wasn't like that. But it suits me.
Yeah, it does in some weird way. I don't know why, but it kind of does. I would like to see a painting of the Onion Man. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
In your style, in the Onion Man style.
Well, you'll have to sign up for my Patreon.
There you go. That's marketing right there, boy.
That's it. See, I'm learning already.
I'm going to call you the Onion Man from now on. That's my nickname for you.
The Onion Man.
I love it. I love that. It's perfect. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. That was a great, excellent interview, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's great, and very happy to be part of this.
Yes, excellent. I'm happy for you to be on the show, and I'm excited to show your work to people that may not have seen it because it's so amazing.
Thanks.
I can't overstate that. So let me just give a pitch for the Dark Art Society Patreon. It is, if you want to support, you can support for only $1 if you want, and you get the podcast a day early, and that is patreon.com/darkartsociety. And then my Patreon is patreon.com/Chet Zar, I think. God. Patreon.com. Yeah, that's I haven't promoted that one in a while. So, okay, that's it. So, thanks again for coming on and taking the time. I appreciate it. Let's just say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
See you later. See you next time.